You know that feeling of, well, maybe relative security when you log into your bank or check your private messages. That sense that your online space is yours.
Yeah, it's a trust we kind of take for granted.
Exactly. And then something comes along that just shatters it. Not even a direct attack on you, but something huge, something foundational.
And that's really what we're digging into today. This recently uncovered data leak is, frankly, staggering. It involves some massive tech company.
Massive is right. We're talking Facebook, Apple, Google, Netflix, Microsoft.
Snapchat, Roblox, PayPal, Discord, even health platforms, government platforms. The list just goes on.
It's almost certain that if you're listening, you use at least one, probably many of these. Nearly 200 million passwords exposed.
Right. So our mission here really is to cut through the noise. We want to understand what went wrong, what data is out there, and crucially, what you can actually do to protect yourself. Provide some clear, actionable stuff.
Okay, let's start with the discovery. Nearly 200 million passwords. Found where exactly?
Well, this is the kicker. They were found on a public database, just sitting there.
Public, you mean just accessible?
Essentially, yes. Now, it's offline now, thankfully. The hosting company was notified and took it down. But still, the fact that it was ever public is deeply concerning.
Wow. And how does that even happen? A misconfiguration, maybe?
That's a strong possibility. Misconfigured cloud storage, maybe an oversight in how the data was handled or aggregated. Hard to say for sure yet.
And we know who found this.
Yeah, credit goes to Jeremiah Fowler. He's the security researcher who discovered this exposure.
Okay. His work really highlights these sometimes hidden vulnerabilities in the infrastructure we all rely on, doesn't it?
It really does. Constant vigilance is needed, clearly, at every single level.
So nearly 200 million passwords. That's the headline. But what else was in this data trove beyond the passwords?
Typically, it included usernames and email addresses alongside the passwords.
Yeah.
But, and this is where it gets particularly serious,
Okay.
in some instances, financial data was also mixed in.
Oof. Financial data. That really ups the ante, doesn't it?
Absolutely. It moves beyond account access for, say, streaming into potential direct financial theft.
Even a little bit of that kind of data could cause huge problems for someone.
Precisely. It opens doors you really don't want opened.
Okay, so how did all this data, usernames, passwords, maybe financial info end up together on a public database? The reports mention info stealer malware. Sounds nasty.
It is. And according to Website Planet, that's the leading theory. Info stealer malware.
So what does it do? How does it work?
Think of it like spyware, specifically designed to steal information. It infects your device, your computer, maybe your phone,
Right.
and then just sits there quietly in the background.
Doing what?
Its job is to find and copy sensitive stuff. Save passwords from your browser, autofill data like names and addresses, sometimes emails, documents stored locally, even browser cookies.
Browser cookies. Those little tracking files.
Yeah, they can sometimes contain session information or other bits of data that could potentially be misused.
So this isn't like hacking Netflix's servers directly. It's infecting my computer or your computer and stealing the info stored there.
That's the model, yes.
Mhm.
The report used the analogy of a digital pickpocket.
Huh. A digital pickpocket. That's quite an image.
It fits, right. It silently grabs your credentials and other data as you use your device, often without you noticing anything's wrong.
That's really unsettling. You could have this thing running for ages and not know.
Exactly. And while we don't know for sure if this specific database was actively being used by criminals before it was taken down,
Right.
the risk is just enormous. Having that volume of data exposed publicly is a massive liability. Someone almost certainly grabbed a copy.
Okay, something else highlighted, particularly by Fowler, was the risk around email accounts specifically being compromised. Why the special focus on email?
That's a really crucial point he made. Many people, maybe without even thinking about it, use their email like free cloud storage.
How do you mean?
Well, think about it. People keep old emails for years, right? And sometimes those emails contain really sensitive attachments or information. Tax forms, medical records, contracts.
Oh, right. I can see that. Maybe even lists of passwords they emailed to themselves, which is a terrible idea, but people do it.
Exactly. So if a criminal gets into your main email account, they don't just get your email password. They potentially get access to this huge archive of your personal sensitive life.
It becomes like a master key.
Precisely. They can use it to reset passwords for other accounts, dig through your history for blackmail material, commit identity theft using those documents. The potential damage escalates dramatically.
Oh, okay, yeah. That's definitely hitting home. So let's pivot to solutions. What can listeners do? The Metro article had some concrete recommendations. First up, changing passwords. How often?
The general advice is at least once a year, but pay special attention to your main email account. That's the crucial one. Maybe change that one more often.
Right. Treat the email password like the key to the kingdom, because it kind of is.
It really is. If that one's compromised, the fallout can be widespread.
It feels like a chore, changing passwords, but clearly necessary. Okay, next suggestion. Password managers. How do they help here?
Password managers are fantastic tools. They're like secure digital vaults for all your different passwords.
So you don't have to remember hundreds of them.
Exactly. You only need to remember one strong master password to unlock the manager. Plus, they generate really strong, unique passwords for each site. So if one site gets breached, the damage is contained, they don't get a password that unlocks other accounts.
And don't some of them also warn you if your passwords show up in leaks like this one?
Yes, many do. They monitor known breaches and alert you if one of your stored passwords has been compromised, so you got to change it immediately. Really useful feature.
Definitely sounds helpful. Okay, next point. Making passwords hard to guess. This feels basic, but clearly still an issue. What's the core advice?
Avoid the obvious, basically. Don't use your name, birthday, pet's name, password, 123456. You know the drill.
Yeah. Common words, keyboard patterns.
Right. Make them long, make them complex. Use a mix of upper and lowercase letters, numbers, symbols. The more random, the better.
Which, again, is where a password manager generating them for you comes in handy.
Absolutely. It takes the guesswork and the temptation to be lazy out of it.
Okay, next one. Two-factor authentication, 2FA. Crucial, but sometimes annoying.
Yeah, it can add an extra step. But it's so important. Think of it this way. Even if someone steals your password, maybe from a leak like this, they still can't get in without that second factor.
Which is usually a code sent to your phone or from an app.
Exactly. A text message, an authenticator app like Google Authenticator or Authy, sometimes a physical security key. It has a massive layer of protection.
Fowler called it the price we must pay for security, right?
He did, and it's true. That slight inconvenience is a tiny price compared to having your accounts hijacked. Definitely turn it on wherever you can.
Agreed. Worth the extra few seconds. Okay, final point from Metro.virus software. How does that help against this info stealer threat?
Good antivirus software is designed specifically to detect and block malware, like info stealers and spyware. It scans files, monitors your system activity.
Like a security guard for your device?
Pretty much, yeah. It aims to stop the malware before it can even install or quarantine it if it's already there. But you have to keep it updated. That's key.
Right.
New threats emerge constantly.
Right, and needs the latest information to be effective. Okay, and Fowler had some extra advice too, specifically about managing those sensitive emails we talked about.
Yes, he suggested being more proactive. Don't just let sensitive emails sit in your inbox forever. Regularly go through and delete old ones with tax info, medical stuff, etc.
Treat your inbox like a communication tool, not a filing cabinet.
Exactly. And for documents you do need to keep long-term, use proper encrypted cloud storage instead of email. Services built for secure storage.
That makes a lot of sense. Better digital hygiene, really.
Mm-hmm.
So we know how the data might have been stolen and what we can do. But briefly, what do criminals do with this stolen data once they have it?
Well, several things. They'll try the passwords on other sites, hoping you reuse them. That's called credential stuffing.
Right.
They'll use the email addresses for targeted phishing attacks, trying to trick you into giving up more info or clicking malicious links.
And then the worst case.
Identity theft. Using your combined personal details to open fraudulent accounts, apply for loans, things like that, it could be devastating.
Yeah, it really paints a picture of why this data is so valuable to them and so dangerous for us.
Absolutely. It's not just about losing access to your Netflix.
Okay, so wrapping this up, the big takeaway is, well, this massive exposure happened. Nearly 200 million passwords, major services. It's a potent reminder of the risks out there.
It really is. The digital world is convenient, but it carries these inherent threats. But the positive takeaway is that you're not helpless.
Right.
Taking those steps we discussed, strong, unique passwords, password managers, 2FA, absolutely, good antivirus, cleaning up old emails. These actions genuinely make a difference. They significantly raise the bar for attackers.
It makes you think, though, doesn't it? Beyond just passwords and email hygiene. What other digital vulnerabilities are we maybe overlooking in our super connected lives?
That's a great question.
What else should we be considering proactively to minimize our risk, our whole digital footprint, how we store information? Maybe that's something for all of us to really ponder going forward.